The lecture hall fell silent, save for the gentle hum of the atmospheric processors. Commander Zektar's 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he processed what the human cadet had just said. Around the amphitheater, representatives from a dozen different species sat frozen in their seats, their various forms of breathing apparatus creating a symphony of shocked gasps. Cadet Sarah Chen sat calmly in the 3rd row, her small frame dwarfed by the towering Velkari beside her and the crystalline shardlings that occupied the seats behind. She seemed completely unaware that she had just committed what many considered the gravest heresy in all of galactic naval doctrine. Excuse me, Cadet Chen? Commander Zektar's voice carried the authority of someone who had commanded destroyers across 3 galactic conflicts. His species, the Keth Mori, were renowned for their tactical brilliance and unwavering courage in battle. Did you just question the fundamental principle of naval honor? Sarah tilted her head, genuinely confused. I'm sorry, sir, I was just wondering about the design philosophy. Every ship blueprint we've studied has the same characteristic. Engines that can only fire forward, weapon systems optimized for frontal assault, and command bridges positioned for maximum forward visibility. I'm just asking why there's never any consideration for strategic withdrawal. The Velkari cadet next to her, Thosek, made a sound that his translator rendered as horrified chittering. Strategic withdrawal? He whispered. She speaks of retreat as if it were tactical. Commander Zektar's mandibles clicked together in agitation. In his 3 centuries of military service, across dozens of worlds and countless battles, the concept of retreat had been drilled out of every warrior worth their plasma rifle. Ships were built to fight forward, always forward, until victory or glorious death. Cadet Chen, the commander began, his voice taking on the tone reserved for teaching fundamental truths to the ignorant. Retreat is not strategic. Retreat is surrender. Retreat is dishonor. Our ships are built to engage the enemy and emerge victorious. There is no alternative. Sarah nodded thoughtfully. But what if victory isn't possible in a particular engagement? What if you're outnumbered 10-1, or your intelligence was wrong, or you've walked into a trap? The question hung in the air like a toxic gas. Several cadets began making gestures that their respective species considered protective against. Evil thoughts. A shardling in the back row chimed melodically, its crystal form resonating with distress. Victory is always possible with sufficient honor and determination, human. This is known. Is it, though? Sarah stood up, and Commander Zektar noticed how every eye in the room tracked her movement. Despite being one of the smallest beings present, she commanded attention in a way that disturbed him. I mean, let's look at the Battle of Kepler 442b from last semester. Admiral Corseth engaged a force 3 times his size because retreat would have been dishonorable. He lost his entire fleet. All hands. He died with honor, Thosek protested, his crest feathers bristling. He died, Sarah said simply. And so did 30,000 other beings. For honor. She turned to face the class. But what if he had retreated? What if he had pulled back, regrouped, gathered intelligence, and attacked at a time and place of his choosing? Those 30,000 beings would still be alive, and the enemy would still be defeated. Commander Zektar felt something he hadn't experienced in decades. Uncertainty. You speak of cowardice, Cadet. Do I? Sarah pulled out her tablet and projected a hologram into the center of the room. This is the Terran vessel Yorktown from our pre-contact period. Notice anything unusual about the engine configuration? The assembled cadets studied the primitive human spacecraft. Slowly, murmurs began to spread through the room. The engines... The Shardling chimed in confusion. They point in multiple directions. The weapons have full rotational capacity, observed a Zephyrian, its gaseous form shimmering with bewilderment. And look at this. Sarah manipulated the hologram, highlighting various systems. Escape pods for the entire crew, redundant life support, multiple bridge configurations. This ship was built not just to fight, but to survive. Commander Zektar stared at the image. This is unprecedented. Humans call it tactical flexibility, Sarah continued. We learned a long time ago that the goal isn't to die gloriously. The goal is to win. And sometimes winning means living to fight another day. She pulled up another image. This is Admiral Chester Nimitz. During our Second World War, he made a decision that every other species in this room would consider the height of dishonor. When faced with a superior Japanese force at Pearl Harbor, he ordered a strategic withdrawal of our aircraft carriers. His peers called him a coward. The room was deadly silent. Those carriers went on to win the Battle of Midway, which turned the entire war. If Nimitz had stayed and fought honorably, humanity might have lost our first global conflict. Instead, he chose victory over honor. Commander Zektar found his voice. But the warrior's code, the honor of... Is there honor in losing? Sarah asked quietly. Is there honor in letting your people die because you were too proud to admit you made a mistake? Is there honor in extinction? The question echoed through the chamber. For the first time in galactic naval history, a room full of military cadets was contemplating the unthinkable. Sarah sat back down. I'm not saying retreat should be the first option, sir. I'm saying it should be an option. Because sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is swallow your pride, save your people, and come back stronger. Commander Zektar looked around. The room at his cadets, future admirals and fleet commanders who would shape the destiny of a dozen worlds. Their faces showed confusion, uncertainty, and something else. Something that looked disturbingly like comprehension. Class dismissed, he said quietly. As the students filed out, Commander Zektar remained at his podium, staring at the hologram of the primitive human warship with its backwards-facing engines and escape pods. For the first time in his career, he found himself wondering, what if the humans were right?